In a busy and overwhelming life, there's just something about glitter and chaos that makes sense. Welcome to the Glitter and Chaos podcast with your hosts, Kaylee Patton Dieters and Caitlin Mead.
Hello, and welcome to our very first podcast ever and episode 1.
I hope you're ready. I'm not sure we are.
We're not, but we're going to do this because we are living authentically.
If you can't tell, we're a little uncomfortable. And we'll share why. We'll share why this is something that's out of our comfort zone. Usually we're one-on-one with people in an office, hidden and not personal in that. I mean, we're personable, but like this gets raw. And this is different for us.
Yes.
Today's episode is going to be about how we got here and also being a little vulnerable to an extent about what we deal with as individuals living life with mental health and how we navigate mental health and live authentically with our own mental health needs. And then why that became important to us to bring it to a podcast level.
Yes. So this is your formal introduction into glitter and chaos. And maybe if I, learn how to do fun little things I can add, I don't know.
Sound effects.
So
we'll see how this goes.
But we want to just do kind of a quick intro into kind of how we got here. So we've always wanted to kind of maybe think about other things that we could do to, reach different people, reach different audiences, just have nice conversations and engagement with others. And so I was like, well, why don't we think about a podcast? I mean, a lot of people like podcasts. It seems like everybody's doing one, but that's okay. Everybody has something to say. And so I was like, well, what do you think about this? And
let's time out there for a second. She says, what do you think about this? I come into work and this woman over here is like, hey, I've got this idea for this podcast. Okay. Let me give you a little history here. Kaylee and I have worked together for what?
Over 10 years.
Across
4 different organizations,
right.
I think.
Which is how our friendship developed.
Yes.
And she's become one of my closest friends, is very involved in my personal life and just very important to my family. And so we've kind of followed each other in a sense in our careers. And the ongoing joke with us is that I get dragged kicking and screaming wherever she takes me. Hence the chaos. So and it takes me a while to catch up. Like it takes me a minute to be like, okay, like this is a good idea. I can handle this. So I come into work, mind you, I have just like hopped on like full time into this private practice deal. And this lady's like, hey, like I got this idea for this podcast. Let's do this podcast. And I'm over here like, whoa, I have just started. And so she's presenting it as this nice little conversation about like this glitter and chaos thing. It took me like a hot minute to.
I was already 5 steps deep into it at that point. I had kind of been shopping a name. I had been shopping a logo. I had already thought about like what a website would be. What could we do for content on Facebook? Like I had already had these steps kind of in place. She had
it developed.
Yeah.
And I'm still at the intro phase of like, wait, what? And so
I said it'll be fine, which is never something she likes me saying to her.
No.
It'll be fine.
My anxiety went from like 0 to like 10 because anytime she says it'll be fine, I'm over here like, fine is never a good word. Fine is not a good word. Fine is Kaylee trying to placate me and basically be like, I need you to come down off the cliff that I have put you on, by the way. And, so we started that way. And the glitter portion comes from Kaylee's just obsession with glitter.
I do love glitter. It is a known fact about myself. It kind of started off as a little bit of a joke. to where I just liked shiny things and glittery things. But I truly do love glitter. It makes me happy. It is one of my favorite things. If I could be completely garbed in glitter and have glitter everything, I totally would. It would be my dream. But it just kind of took off from there. So I was like, I really want something with glitter in it, because that is something that is very integral to me. But you also like, you like glittery things, not to the extent that I do. Please don't
No,
get me wrong,
I will
but
mine's an accent. Like, I can do glitter accents.
that's what?
Glitter accents. Like,
oh, yes. Okay.
accents. Yeah, like just,
Yeah.
I don't know what you thought I said.
Like an accent, like you were like, I'm like, what's a glittery accent? Like, I need to,
No.
I need more information.
No, I will do some glitter accents, but I am definitely,
Oh,
if we were to look at the name, the Glitter and Chaos, I would definitely describe myself probably as more of the chaotic one out of the two of us, in the fact of I tend to, Kaylee and I always joke that if we were in a room, she would be the one that's standing like in the corner plotting things, and I would be the one running around creating the chaos.
You're the diversion.
I'm the diversion. So we talk about that. She's a little more calculated about things, and I am very loud and opinionated, and a little, just those things. So that's kind of how we got to where we are with the name. And then as we came up with the name, we really got to thinking about, how does this apply to life?
Yeah.
Glitter being the joy, glitter being those fantastic moments, the little everyday things, and the chaos being life just totally crapped on you, or life is hectic all the time. And how do I balance finding joy amidst all the things that are happening?
Yes.
Not just in your personal life, but in the things around you.
In any piece of life, wherever the chaos is, because that is the one constant that we have, is chaos.
Yes.
Chaos is forever and always and will continue. The thing is that the other thing we talked about is while we are like, let's, talk about some meditation and thinking about positive things or reframing our thoughts. We're all for that. But sometimes you just need to live in the chaos. Sometimes we need to learn how to thrive with everything going on around us, even if it's not meditation or something. Just finding other ways that you can authentically be in that chaos while it's happening. Because
learning
it's
to
never
sit with
stop.
the uncomfortable.
Yes. Yes.
And I used to hate that phrase. Like in my own personal therapy journey, my therapist would be like, you need to learn to sit in the uncomfortable. And I would be like, that's not something I do. Like, who would willingly sign up to sit in the uncomfortable? But there's beauty in that. There's beauty in learning to thrive in the uncomfortable and recognizing that you can handle more than you thought you could. Not saying like, hey, I have to be this strong person and I have to handle all of these things, but in the fact of, you can learn to cope. You can learn to recognize, I can't change the things around me, but I can control me.
Yes.
And so, like Kaylee said, there's going to be chaos around us all the time. We think about it as like a storm. If you're in the eye of a storm, everything is just chaotic around you all the time. It's not peaceful. It's not this, like, hey, I'm on this island and everything's great. It's no, like, I'm standing in the midst of it and everything around me is just swirling out of control. Well, how do you find that peace in that swirling storm?
Or if you just have a very busy mental headspace. So another reason why I identify with chaos is I have ADHD. And so my brain is never quiet. Like, it still shocks me to this day that there are people that experience life that don't like have a constant thought, song, movie, TV show, something going through their brain, or a conscious stream of thought. It actually weirds me out a little bit because I'm so used to it. I'm so used to it being so, busy and chaotic and all over the place and making all of these connections sometimes in a split second. Like, 1 second you're talking about rabbits and then you're talking about a black hole. There's a very real reason why I got from rabbits to a black hole. You just got to go with me for a second. But this is also how sometimes I do have a list of things like I've already thought of. I've already started, like I said, shopping this. I've already started creating this just as a jumping off point, because that's just how my brain works. It's just so fast. And being a late diagnosed ADHD person, I now look back on my life and was like, oh, this all makes sense. This all makes sense now. And so I think another piece of that glitter and that chaos is it is a real description of just kind of who I am allowing myself to be now, is just more authentically me. And it's scary and it's overwhelming, but it's comforting. It's very comforting in a way.
And to go off of that, Kaylee just self-disclosed a little bit, and so that was part of this too, was us self-disclosing to a degree the things that we deal with. I deal with PTSD from which is post-traumatic stress disorder, for those of you that don't know what it is.
Good clarification.
For just going through a lot of traumatic events. One specific I shouldn't say one, but there was a series of traumatic events that occurred about 7 years ago. And since that time, my life has felt like a storm quite often. And I feel like you'd probably describe it that way to a degree, like especially the first year or so after that significant event. Living life in survival mode, in hypervigilance, and just being in a constant storm. And learning over the last 7 years that dealing with, which this traumatic event is something that, and I won't go into great detail about it, but because of what occurred and because of how it started, there is still a piece of it that follows. There's still a piece of it that's a part of my life that my family and I have to be attuned to. And so it's kind of a constantly evolving thing. And I know that none of this really makes sense as I'm talking about it, but the point that I'm making is it can turn traumatic at any point. And so living on guard. I feel like I'm kind of constantly living on guard to a degree. But over the last 7 years, I've learned how to kind of balance that living on guard and still enjoying life. I don't feel like I do a great job of it in a lot of ways. I would say that my relationships with people changed after the traumatic event, which is definitely expected. But there, like Kaylee said, there's a piece in figuring out how to balance those things, how to balance what comes with those diagnoses, but figuring out how your brain works, and then figuring out how to be authentically yourself and accepting that that's who you are, and accepting that that's what comes with how your brain functions, and being okay with that. Like that's kind of what I want to get at here, is I think sometimes in our society and in our world, we hear these diagnoses and we're like, oh, because I have that, or because I deal with that, then there's something wrong with me. There's not. There's not anything wrong. I think it's a part of who you are. It's a part of, like, my PTSD, OCD, whatever, is a part of who I am. It's a part of my journey. It doesn't define me. And so I've learned how to live with those things. And what I like to say is, like, with my PTSD, there's grief. And so I like to say that, like, my grief and my PTSD and joy can hold hands and walk together at the same time. And it's, like Kaylee said, there's a piece in when you accept that and you learn that this is how my brain functions. And it's actually a beautiful part of how my brain functions. And
but it's loving all of those pieces too about yourself.
Yes, it's loving yourself.
Because that's one of the hardest things in this society, right? Just how we're taught to hide certain pieces of ourselves. We're taught to, not necessarily be 100% you all the time. And that's really kind of sad, because sometimes you are dampening the very, very distinct pieces that make you you. And you miss out on that opportunity, and you miss out on that fullness of just being able to interact in the world like that. And I mean, I get that. Not everybody's going to like you. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. You're not meant to be. We say that all the time, you know, especially when we're meeting new individuals and things like that. I am not everybody's cup of tea.
Yep.
And that's okay. And I'm okay with that. Now, it's taken me 30 odd years to maybe get there, but that's okay too. That was my own journey. Other people did not have that journey, and I'm so happy for them as well that they haven't had that experience and they didn't have that journey. But I am, as I've gotten used to who I am and, you know, really, you know, diving into it, I'm okay with my journey. I'm okay that it took all of that to get here. Didn't happen overnight, but I got there.
And I think you'll find too that like everybody's in different places in their journey.
Yeah.
So like, you know, Kaylee's mentioned she is at a point where she's okay with where she's at and feeling good, you know, about how she got there and things like that. And some people are at that place in their journey and some people aren't. I know for me, like there are some days that I'm like, I'm okay. Like I'm okay where I am. I've accepted it. I know that I've changed as a person as a result of the things that have occurred, and I'm okay with that. But then there are other days that I'm just like, I am not okay. Like I am not okay with this. I am not okay with how this is going. I don't like how I'm feeling. And I call it my spiral. Kaylee and I often joke that that's like, I get inside my head, and I always tell people my head's a scary place. Like you don't want to go there. And so, you know, that's part of this. That's part of this journey is you're going to find peace. You're going to embrace yourself. And then there's days that you're going to not feel great about it. And that's part of the journey. Like that's part of all of this. But part of this podcast, part of what this is, part of us disclosing ourselves is normalizing it.
Yep. Normalizing the mess, normalizing everything that's going on, the good, the bad, the ugly, the otherwise, the neutral, the just not everything is good, not everything is bad. There is tons of color in between.
There's gray, there's color everywhere. It's not black and white. And I think, you know, we talked in our last, like in our intro, that we weren't going to bring too much that we're therapists into this, but I am going to bring this part into it. I find it amusing when our clients find out that, you know, we see our own therapist or that we do our own things, because I think there's this common misconception that therapists have their lives together. Well, I always make the joke that we're therapists because we know no one has their lives together. And that I'm a therapist in a lot of ways because I want to avoid my stuff, so I focus on everybody else's stuff. It's not a healthy coping mechanism, by the way. Working on that. But the point being, like, nobody has it together. No one. And if people are... But I think as a society, we walk around and we want everyone to think that we have it together. Yeah. And that's a huge problem. Like, that's what causes so many of these issues, is because we walk around and we act like, hey, everything's fine, and I have to pretend like everything's fine. And we don't. Like,
it's that question that you always get, like, hey, how are you? Nobody ever says how they really are doing. They always just, oh, I'm good, or I'm fine, and you just gloss over it because nobody wants to get into that in the moment in the grocery store of this person who is in the same experience as you are, who's living. Right. And so one of my first acts, I call it acts of defiance because I'm defiant in nature, was to say how I was feeling in the moment. And if I was feeling good, then I would say good. If I was feeling not so great, I'd be like, today's a tougher day. Yeah. And I get mixed reviews on that because, again, they're not expecting that. The person who's asking that is waiting for that social exchange of, oh, I'm good, we part ways. And that was something that I have done for myself. One, to start breaking that stigma. Two, to allow other people to say that, everybody's not going to have everybody's great days or I'm fine days. And it took a little bit of guts because, again, you're going against that natural conversation that we have kind of been conditioned to kind of just reflexively reply. And to break from that, you do kind of get like a, oh. and So, I mean, it's kind of cool to see.
It makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I don't want to make people uncomfortable, but at the same time, I also need to live authentically. If I don't feel like I need to lie to you and say everything is, sunshine and rainbows, even though I do like sunshine and rainbows, obviously glittery things. But that's not what I want to always portray. Now, granted, there's some times in some places where you just need to like run social cues exe and just
read
go.
the room. Read the room.
Yes, there are certain things with that where it's like, yes, I'm fine, and you just exit stage right. But when I'm able to, which is more often than not, I am able to be authentic in my answer. Now, that isn't saying that I'm going to divulge into everything that's going on right now. I just could say, I'm having a tougher day. And if the next person, depending on my level of how much I know them, they ask, well, what's going on? I can say either, I don't really want to talk about it right now, but thank you for asking. Or I can choose, depending on how close I am to that individual, to divulge a little bit more. But again, it's breaking down that stigma, which is very important to us. It's something we've been...
That's like our tagline. Like that's kind of been our whole thing. Yeah. And that's, Kaylee's talking about like when we're in public and we're out and, people are asking, how are you? From our perspective, from those of you that are tuning in and don't have any idea where Seneca, Kansas is, we are a very rural community.
Yeah.
And so the everybody knows everybody thing is legitimate here. And so people really do ask you, hey, how are you? And stop you in the grocery store and talk to you and love this community. Yeah. There is a huge fear of stigma.
And I don't think it's just here, though.
No,
it's in small town in general.
Yes. And I think that's what I'm getting at, though. I think that's where that comfort level of answering honestly of I'm not okay comes from. There's a lot of work being done here by different organizations to recognize that it's okay to not be okay. Mm-hmm. But I think as a society and as people, there is this expectation that I have to present that I'm okay. And so like what Kaylee's doing in her defiance is great and fantastic. And our hope is that more people will do that. And that's what this is. That's what we're hoping to gain from this, is that people realize, hey, like we can talk about these things. We can be authentic about life and not just the good in life. Yeah. And like this podcast is not going to be like, hey, let's focus on the negative. That's not what this is. No. What this is be authentic in your joy, be authentic in your chaos, be authentic in the good and the bad. Because they're both equally important in your life. Just learning to be authentic as a person. Yes. And the things that come with that.
Yes. And in the realm of chaos and authenticity, share the story of the microphones.
Oh, geez.
So we talked about this in the teaser. So Caitlin's going to tell the story of the microphones, of why this is recorded later than we wanted it to be.
My head keeps hitting the
same here.
curtain, but it's okay. So just ignore that part. We'll work on these things. So probably for like the last 3 weeks, we've had every intention of like every Friday to be recording our podcast. So we show up in our glitter and chaos shirts the last 3 Fridays.
Something like that.
Yeah, like, all right, today's the day.
Let's do this.
First day we came in and we were hanging like all the things, and the things were not hanging the way that they needed to. I think that first time we were trying to do it, we spent like 5-6 hours working on like trying to get this stuff done. Yes. And so like we've had the neon sign, like we've had all of this probably like a year at least.
For a while.
And so that happened. And then the next time we showed up, I can't remember exactly why we didn't do it, but something happened and we didn't do it the second week. So then last week we show up and we're like, today is the day. Like we have stage lights, we have everything set up, like we are good to go. We had the lights on.
We are marked, we are placed, we are set.
We had the phone in place. And Kaylee's like, the mics aren't registering. And so we're sitting here going, oh my gosh, did the mics just die? Like, are we going to have to
postpone again
and purchase new mics, whatever.
Yeah.
So then Kaylee's like, I've never charged these things. And because we've never used them, like we've barely used them.
I didn't think
and I
the
think
battery
we
would
both,
decay
well, we
that
both
quickly.
assumed that when it goes back in the box, and this is what we get for assuming, like we're therapists, not tech support, okay? We assumed that when we put the mics back in their little charging box that they charged.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we didn't think to charge the charging box.
Yeah.
So then we went to charge the charging box, and Kaylee's like, yeah, I got like 2%. So that's what happened with last week, which is why we are here now doing today. So,
and after we found out that the mics were at 2%, after just like connecting it barely to get some charge to have it register, it was like that could have been the time where we could have just been like really just down on ourselves. Like, gosh, why didn't we think about this? Just really just gotten into like a negative headspace of, we've been wanting to do this for X amount of time. We've set it up 3 different times and 3 different things have always came up. We could have really just been hard on ourselves. But at that moment, we laughed.
I mean, we did. We laughed about it.
We were frustrated. Don't get us wrong. But we laughed because this was like, this is the chaos. This is the chaos that we discussed, that we had everything else set up. We had everything else ready to go except that one thing. And that was just, again, being authentic in the funniness of, you know what? Yup.
Here's life coming right in and doing what life does. And, and then we were at this mental health coalition that Friday night in Holton, and we were telling Brenda about it. Brenda runs Damon's Purpose. If you haven't checked that out. Yeah. She does great work with them, and we were telling her about it, and she's just laughing because she's like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. Like, that's absolutely perfect for what you're doing. Yeah. And, again, really focusing on the authenticity of it and the, like, we could sit there and grumble the entire time about how ridiculous it was and how we should have done this and we should have done that. But you've got to flip the script. And you have to look at it too in, this is something that just happened, and there's another day, and it'll be here on the next day, and now we're just going to laugh about it. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not sitting here saying, hey, we're going to flip the script on everything and just think positively about everything. Because that's not life. That's not realistic. No. Sometimes life is really going to crap on you, and you're going to be like, look, I don't want to think positively right now, and I don't want to feel authentic and happy and good about it. Like, I'm authentically ticked off right now. Yes. It's okay to be authentically ticked off. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to give you permission to feel all the feels and know that those feelings are all authentic. We're not sitting here saying that joy is the only authentic feeling that you need to be experiencing. No. I can be authentically all the things in one day. Just depends on the situation. Yes. But that's what part of this is too, is not feeling guilt for experiencing your feelings. Yes. Caveat here. Experiencing the feelings that we feel does not give us an excuse to go out. No. And, well, because I'm mad, I'm going to do this. No.
You are responsible for your emotions.
And your actions as a result of those emotions. So we want to make that very clear in this too. Yes. That this is not a pass to do what you want to do just because you're feeling a certain way. No. Not that got a little heavy, but I feel like that needs to be something that we throw out.
But there's going to be some heavy times. We're going to, there's going to be some things that we discuss that are going to have some heaviness to them. But again, it's that full gamut, that full spectrum, that full line of emotions that you can experience and that you can just have that are okay. Feel all the feels is legitimate in its both sarcastic but funny kind of truthful nature.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you don't want to feel all the feels, but nonetheless they demand to be felt.
And I think that kind of brings us on to our next topic. One of the things that you and I discussed was the insecurities of doing this. Yes. And our different personalities in doing this. I tend to be jump first, ask questions later. To an extent, to a degree.
I think on some things, yes.
On some things. I'm also very avoidant in other areas. Yeah. Like my feelings, and she'll tell you this too, my feelings, I tend to be very avoidant in nature to a degree on some things. Yeah. I'm kind of a flipper flopper. Like there are some days that I am very like open with my emotions, and I might bust into your office and like, I'm really mad about this. Or I'm really happy and excited about this. And there are other days that you will call me out and be like, hey, what's going on? Like, you're not talking. You're not like, your guard is up. And so there are certain topics that we talked about my trauma. Like trauma, I tend to be very guarded and kind of closed off about and avoidant of some things because I just maybe don't want to deal with it that day or whatever. But that brought us to like the insecurities and the avoidance and all the things of this podcast. And maybe that was also part of the reason we were kind of delaying this a little bit too, is I think that there's been some anxiety about starting it. In that we knew we were putting ourselves out here.
And on the flip side of her, I am a researcher. I will research something to the nth degree. So I understand it. I can pull different things. I can create all of these different flowcharts, not literally, but in my brain, all of these little connections are making, falling into place. And I often have researched it at least a couple hours before I even present it. And that's why Caitlin is like, whoa, wait. I'm like, but I've already done like 5 hours of back work that nobody has even seen except for myself because I got hyper focused because it was interesting and it's new and I'm learning a new skill. And then I'm like, hey, let's do this. And she's like, wait. And to be fair, I think I hope I've gotten a little bit better on some of it. But yes, there are some times I'm like, it's fine, just come here.
I gotta press the pause button with her sometimes and be like, "Listen, Linda, like we gotta slow this down a little bit.
It's gonna be fine, I promise."
Yeah. She's throwing glitter everywhere, and I'm like, "You have just created chaos in my mind, and I have to I have to process."
Yes. And so with that, sometimes I am impulsive as well. And that's kind of also just part of who I am. There are certain things that I plan. There are certain things that I schedule and have to have a very kind of, this is my plan, this is my thing. And then there's times I'm just like, let's see what happens. Let's do this. And it's never like it's never I don't know if it's consistent yet on the things that like I meticulously plan and then like, let's do this.
No.
So it just really kind of depends. Like stuff like this, yes. Like I will have hours of back work and research done into this before I even decide like, yes, I'm going to do this.
But then she'll come at you and be like, it's going to be a game time decision. And you're like, I need something more than a game time decision. Okay. Like I think that happens.
I forget
those words
about that.
come out of her mouth a lot. And to a degree, I can handle that. But there are parts of me that are just like, okay. Which I think, to be fair, I've gotten better about as well. I'm not the planner like I used to be. Like I can be like, we'll just do it. Mm-hmm. Small things.
I do agree. You have gotten a lot better on that. I, on the other hand, just go.
She's a bulldozer.
I just go.
She's a bulldozer.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Sometimes I'm the corn. And she just goes straight through the field.
Well, you're not moving fast enough.
Sometimes I have to stand still, okay? And then you come at me. And I either gotta get out of the way or I gotta go.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm trying to get better at that. I'm trying to.
You've done excellent. You've done excellent. But the insecurities portion.
Yes. And I think that, I guess in a way, I'm kind of in a roundabout describing the insecurity on my piece of it was because this is something completely new. I've never done it before. And I don't know if it's necessarily like a feeling of failure or anything, but it's like, it's just putting yourself out there in something new that you have no idea what you're doing. And you're just like, it's a game time decision. We're going to figure it out as we go.
But I think the beauty of this is like what we just talked about. Like, we can't really fail.
Yeah.
You can't fail at this. You can't fail at being authentic.
No.
But I think we get so stuck in our heads of this, we have to present a certain way because of what we do.
Yes.
And that's where Kaylee and I talked a lot about, we have to take the therapist hat off when we're in these seats, when we're in front of this camera. Don't get us wrong. We're authentic in our therapy sessions. We absolutely are. But we play a role there. you know, I don't want to say play a role, but we are in a different role there. We're right here. We're what I call therapists in the wild. We are ourselves in that you're seeing us outside of what we do 4 or 5 days a week. And so, you know, it's very different when you're one-on-one with somebody versus now you're putting yourself out there and we're making ourselves vulnerable in ways that are very non-conventional for us because we're taught in school that you don't share. You don't share that part of yourself. No. And in the therapy room, obviously. We're not in the therapy room here, but we are opening ourselves up. And that's, to be fair, it's scary. Like it's scary for us to be doing this. I mean, those of you that know me know that I'm pretty open. If you're in, like, you live in this small town, you know things. But it's not an easy thing to do.
No.
To put yourself out there.
No, it's not. Because you open yourself up for commentary and comments and
criticism.
And like we said, we're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. Our goal is to reach the ones that are similar in the tea brand to really connect with and dialogue with and communicate with. And that's okay. If you don't like this, you know, you don't have to listen, and that is perfectly okay. We support you if this isn't what you are interested in, and that's okay. This is what we're interested in.
Right.
And so I think kind of like going forward, we're going to have kind of, I don't know, maybe like 1 or 2 topics, maybe 1 per podcast as we kind of go. But it is just going to be us having a conversation. It is going to be us reacting to each other. It is us, having this dialogue, with everyone that's listening, plus us in the moment.
Right. So, thanks for listening to us today.
Yes.
And for joining us on this first episode. We're really excited to get started. You're going to grow with us as we grow.
Yes.
And as we figure out how to do this. But like I said in the beginning, and like we both said, we would really like to hear the things that you want to hear.
Yeah.
And hear the things that, discuss the things that are important to you or questions that you have. So feel free to reach out to us through our Facebook page or even the comments on the YouTube section. This will be going out different venues,
different platforms.
So we're excited to do this, and just kind of bear with us as we figure out how often we're doing this and all the things that come with it. So
yes,
it's part of the glitter and part of the chaos, but we'll see you guys next time, and live authentically.